I'm going to make sure that now 11 weeks since we lost 19 kids and their 2 teachers shot to death with a weapon originally designed for use in combat, legally purchased by an 18-year-old who did not try to obtain one when he was 16 or 17, but followed the law that's on the books, ladies and gentlemen, that says that you can buy not one, you can buy 2 or more if you want to, AR-15s, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and take that weapon that was originally designed for use on the battlefields in Vietnam to penetrate an enemy soldier's helmet at 500 feet and knock him down dead, up against kids at 5 feet. It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me, okay? We're going to make sure that our kids who are starting their school year right now, that they don't have to worry about somebody walking into their school with a weapon like this, that we take common sense steps, we find the common ground, Democrats and Republicans, gun owners, non-gun owners alike.
Leave it to Greg Abbott to contract a bunch of his supporters to show up at a Beto campaign event, and the moment that they decide to laugh out loud is while Beto is describing the carnage of school shootings. Anyone who tells you that both sides are the same clearly hasn't seen this clip. And just in case you thought that Beto somehow deserved this heckling, that he had at any point mocked or disparaged or embarrassed those Abbott supporters, take a listen to what he said only minutes earlier.
I'm going to introduce myself, share with you a little bit about what I want to be able to do as governor, but I also want to hear you, and I want to hear everyone. And I know there's some folks who will not vote for us in this next election. That's okay. My responsibility as your governor is to treat and serve everyone equally. So I want to hear a round of applause for these Abbott supporters who are here. We're glad that you all came. Thank you for coming out. That's not easy to do, but you're welcome to join us, and we're glad that you're here. The other thing that I want to let you all in on, and this is some big news, is we are going to win this election on the night of November 8th. You all with me?
He thanked them for being there, and then those same people turned around and not only heckled him during his event, but opted to do so while Beto was lamenting the carnage of school shootings that took the lives of innocent children in that state. If you thought there was a floor, you'd be wrong. And let's be clear, this isn't the first time that Beto has positioned himself on the right side of that fight against Greg Abbott. Right after the Uvalde shooting, Abbott and a bunch of other Texas Republicans who'd been in power as the number of shootings has skyrocketed decided to hold a press conference to give themselves cover for having done nothing to prevent these atrocities. Beto didn't allow them to rewrite history there either.
And at this time, I will pass the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
Yeah, you want me to come in? So we're following some developments here at this news conference here in Uvalde right now. That is Beto O'Rourke, who is telling the governor of Texas right now another shooting is going to happen, essentially putting the onus on the governor and the leadership in Texas right now, confronting him face to face at this news conference over the killings that happened at this elementary school. We should mention Beto O'Rourke is also running for office here in the state of Texas, statewide office.
The fact is that in Texas, since Greg Abbott became governor, there have been mass shootings in Fort Hood, Dallas, Texas First Baptist Church, Santa Fe, El Paso, Midland, Odessa, and Uvalde. And of course, Abbott knows how poorly this reflects on him, which is why he had promised to act to curb gun violence. In 2019, when a shooter killed 23 and injured dozens more in an El Paso Walmart, Abbott swore to, quote, do everything we can to make sure a crime like this doesn't happen again. His lieutenant governor, Dan Patrick, said he was, quote, willing to take take an arrow from the NRA in order to pursue stronger background checks there. Cut to several years later, and you're not going to believe this, but Dan Patrick took no arrows from the NRA, passed no strong background checks law, and Abbott didn't do much of anything to make sure that a crime like that didn't happen again, as we sit here in the aftermath of the most recent school shooting, this time where 19 kids and 2 teachers were slaughtered. I should note that while these Texas Republicans were making their grand promises to curb gun violence with legislation that never actually managed to materialize, they did manage to pass a few major pieces of legislation that actually expanded gun rights, like passing a permitless carry bill, allowing most Texans to carry handguns openly in public without any training or permits, because that sounds like a good idea. It was already legal for long guns, like rifles and shotguns, meaning now effectively all guns would be covered by permitless carry. They passed a Second Amendment sanctuary state law to shield Texas from any federal gun control laws, and they passed a law that would eliminate the governor's power to ban gun sales during an emergency and make it legal for gun owners to bring weapons into their hotel rooms. In other words, these Republicans and Greg Abbott saw these shootings happening across the country and decided, what we need is more unfettered access to guns. We need fewer permits. We need fewer background checks. A shooter slaughtered 60 people in Las Vegas from a hotel room? How about we make it legal to bring guns into hotel rooms? So when it seems like Abbott and his supporters really don't care, when it seems like they're the kind of people who would laugh during a speech about the death of a bunch of children in their classroom, it's because that's exactly who they are, and it's who they've always been. So good on Beto for not only drawing attention to this issue, but for speaking his mind so clearly. Him going off on those hecklers is the polar opposite of the useless, perfunctory bullshit that's become a hallmark of Greg Abbott's tenure. Abbott is a walking, talking Fox comment section who's overseen a surge in shootings, the failure of the power grid, and Texas followed a dead last in mental health care, all while redirecting funding to do border stunts with National Guard troops who don't even know why they're there, also that he can get his 5-minute hit on Fox. Abbott's treated his time in office as a personal launching pad for his personal political ambitions, and the people of Texas have suffered for it. You don't have to be a Democrat to recognize the dismal position that that's put regular Texans in. So look, this isn't about politics. If you live in Texas and you care about keeping kids safe, you can't deny the fact that change is needed. If you live in Texas and you care about keeping the power on and your energy bills low, you can't deny the fact that change is needed. If you live in Texas and you're witnessing an abject failure to care for the sick, the vulnerable, and the mentally ill, you can't deny the fact that change is needed. This isn't about your political affiliation, it's not about political tribalism, it's about looking out for Texans. Greg Abbott has already proven that he's not interested in that in the slightest. Before you go, couple things. First, if you want to support my work, the best way is to subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. And second, if you want to see and hear more from me, check out my website, briantylercohen.com. That way you can get links to my podcast, merchandise, ways to donate to voting rights organizations, and so much more. The thumbnail is also right here on the screen, so go check it out. And as always, thank you so much for watching.